Hi everyone, Audrey here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to over-dye flannels. I saw this really cool thing on Urban Outfitters. They call it Urban Renewal line, and they take clothes that they are recycling and upcycling, and they had all these flannels and they call them overdyed. So I wanted to see if we took just regular old flannels, what we could do with them and how they would turn out, which is dyeing over the color. So this one and this one I have already bleached, and I'm going to show you how to bleach one today while I'm doing the overdying. And all I'm going to do is pour in probably like a cup of bleach. I maybe have like a, I don't know, gallon, half a gallon of water here. So basically all you're going to do is get your flannel and put it in this water with bleach and just let it sit for a while. And then I'm gonna put this one to the side, and when it's ready I'll show you guys, and we'll kind of take note of how long it's gonna take. So while we have that one flannel soaking in the bleach, I have another bucket here that we are going to put some soda ash in. And I haven't ever used soda ash before, but it's supposed to help keep the color of the dye, so I thought this would be a really good time to try it. So this is just Jacquard soda ash, and it says to use 1 cup per gallon of water. So I have 2 gallons here, so I'm going to use 2 cups of soda ash. So once you have your soda ash and your water and dissolved, all I'm going to do is start dunking my shirts in. We can do a couple at a time. I'm not sure how long we need them to soak in this, but I think as long as we just get that soda ash in the fabric, it will help the dye saturate better and hold color better. So I got all of these flannels and plaid shirts just at the local thrift store. I went to a couple different ones just to make sure I was getting patterns and material that I liked. And all of them just happen to be 100% cotton, which is really good because the dye that I'm using is this Jacquard powder dye, and it's for natural fibers. So it definitely will work best with 100% cotton. If you're using ones that are half polyester, you should get a dye for synthetics. All I'm doing is putting about a teaspoon or a little more in these like ketchup bottles that I got. And then you just top it off with water. I recommend doing this on something that's covered or outside because that powder makes a really big mess. It's like you can't even see it, and then next thing you know, it's like all over everything. Okay, so now I have this plastic tub with a wire rack that I'm gonna put on top, and I have all of my shirts soaked in the soda ash, and now it just is time to start dyeing. This is one of the ones I bleached, so after I do this one, then I'm gonna try doing one that I haven't bleached and see how they turn out. I have a bunch of different examples. I'm starting with a really dark blue. I have a dark blue that I mixed with black. You wanna just make sure you saturate it really well. I think it's okay if a little bit of plaid shows through. You know, like a little bit of the color before to show that we're going for kind of like a grungy 90s vibe on these shirts. If you're using a wire rack, make sure you get it really nice and clean in between each one, or else you're gonna end up with like purple or blue dye. So this is one of the plaids that I didn't bleach. I just got it out to the thrift store, and it's black and white. So I think it'll do a really, really nice job of just taking whatever color we want. It'll get really interesting when we do like this blue color to see how it's actually gonna turn out. So for this one, I'm just going to do it green. Okay, so here's this one. It's kind of cool because like some of the colors just from like the saturation of the dye have it like lighter and darker. So it'll be really interesting to see what this turns out like when it washes. So this one is like a cream color and black, and I pre-mixed this color with, I used just red 009 and I used brown 023, and I used more red than brown. If you guys are into crop tops and want to crop these, then you don't have to worry about dyeing this bottom part. Just dye it low enough to where you think you're gonna want it, and then don't waste the dye on the bottom. And this one is really cool, so I might leave some of it kind of natural. I'm adding some water, just dilute it, so we can have like somewhat of an ombre effect going on. So I'm gonna do, since I did the bold color in the middle, I'm gonna do it lighter down here. And it looks better if you kind of mix the two. It blends a lot better. Since this is so diluted, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna roll it up into this part that has a lot more color saturation. And I'm gonna kind of mush it together to try and get some of that darker color through there. And then up at the top, seeing how that brought some of the color down? I like that. I think that's kind of cool. I like how this one shows a lot of the plaid through, unlike the first one I did that really covered it up. Now I'm gonna do all brown up at the top. So this shirt is a much thicker fabric than the other ones that I did earlier. So keep in mind when you buy your shirts, if you buy like a really thick flannel or even one of those like coat type of flannels, that you make way more dye, because this so far is gonna take like 3 whole bottles when the other one only took like half a bottle. But I just keep dyeing and dyeing and dyeing until I don't see the color through anymore. Here's another one of the ones that I actually bleached all the way through. And I think I'm gonna do this with some girlier colors like pinks and purples and blues. I'm gonna start at the top with pink. And that color pink is 608 pink. When you have these wrinkles in it, you can like leave those like that and give it more of a tie-dye effect, or you can fully saturate the color, whatever you guys want. Just have fun while you're doing this. So I have this one that's like these different blues and purples. I'm gonna try something really weird. We're just gonna put yellow over it, and I'm gonna put quite a bit of yellow powder in here so it's really potent. It'll be interesting to see if this shirt ends up turning green, because like yellow and blue make green, or what ends up happening. Ooh, look at that. I wonder what it'll end up looking like. If it ends up this gold color, it'd be cool. So I'm just gonna do the whole shirt, get it really good and saturated. So this one, I kind of just took the colors that I had left over and I added more water to them, so they're gonna be really diluted. So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out over this gray one. And this one's really thick, so it's probably gonna take all the colors I have left. I'm gonna start up at the very top with this purple. Okay, so next color, it's like a blue-black. We're gonna go in with. If you don't like that sprayed look, make sure you just get nice and close to it. Okay, so I have finished with all the dyeing of all the shirts, and now I have them all laid out on a tarp. Hanging them on a hanger does not work. Laying them on a tarp in the backyard, I think, is the best way to do it. And I'm going to let them sit for 24 hours, and I'm going to wash them out with cold water, one at a time in the washing machine, and then we'll see what they look like. We're back a couple days later. I have some of these that I dyed. I let them sit for 24 hours, and then I washed each one of them separately. But I have some that I just don't like the way they turned out. This is the one that was blue, and we put like that gold dye on top, and I don't like the way it looks. This one just didn't really hold a whole lot of color. This was one we tried to bleach. This is like some magic unbleachable fabric. I have no idea why it won't bleach, but we're gonna dye this. And then this one I'm just not crazy about. So I got these 2 different dyes. I got wine and dark green. And we are just going to like submerge them. I think I'm gonna fully submerge this one. I'm gonna do half on this one and fully submerge this one in wine and do a half on this one and see how it all comes out. I did this per instructions on the back. It wasn't hard, just follow the instructions on the back. This one, I'm going to fully submerge, and I think you let it sit for like 30 minutes.
Be careful, Mom.
So that wine color that I put in the pot, I don't know if there's too much water in it or what was going on, but it looks really pink, and I don't want pink on this shirt at all. So I have a box of cheap red wine. Don't judge. It's from camping. And I'm gonna dye this with wine. I'm just making sure I have like half the shirt in here. I'm like, let's just let it sit. Let's see how this is coming out. This is really dark, way darker than I ever thought it would be. But these colors fade a lot. So just keep that in mind. So I have this one sitting here. It's starting to get darker. You wanna keep moving it around. Make sure it's nice and watered. This is crazy dark. So I'm gonna take it off. We'll see how it does. I'm just gonna take this over to the sink. I'm not gonna pour the whole thing out because I'm gonna keep using this dye. I'm gonna bring this over, I'm gonna pull it out and put it in the sink. I need the tongs. So we'll see how much of it ends up coming out. Sometimes these really, really fade. So you wanna get as much color out of this as you can at the sink, and then you're gonna wash it in your washing machine. When you wash it by itself. Wash it on warm water with some detergent and only wash this by itself or it will ruin everything else you wash it with. Or it'll bleed onto something else and it won't come out exactly the way you wanted it to. Okay, so this is the other one that I just want to dye half of it. That dye was way darker than I thought, so I added more water to it. I'm just gonna go in halfway. Now this, we're just getting more and more pink. And it's gonna fade. So this shirt is gonna be like a pink shirt, but that's okay. Okay, so this is how they all turned out. This one ended up being like my favorite one that I didn't like at all from the beginning. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks for making it all the way through. If you like my video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks.